Adair, thank you so much for being with me
Yeah,
today. Really excited to talk to you.
likewise.
Just very grateful for you taking the time to do this.
Thank you.
Will you just start off telling us a little bit about who you are?
Yeah, wonderful. Adair Mosley, and I serve as the president and CEO of Pillsbury United Communities, a 140-year-old community impact organization here in the cities.
Awesome. So I know you do all of the things.
All of the
All
things.
of the things, but we'll
Yeah.
just try to keep this within a 3 to 4 hour time frame. No,
Yeah.
just kidding. Can you tell us more about what Pillsbury United Communities does?
Yeah, so fortunate to lead such an inspiring and impactful organization. But we, at the core of it, are community builders, co creating enduring change toward a just society. And that's undergirded by a vision that every person has personal, social, and economic power. That work manifests itself into three areas for us: people, place, prosperity. People achieving greater health and well being. Place, it intersects at place, certainly thinking about how the tools of both art and community voice can be levers for social justice and change. And prosperity, the ability to earn, learn, dream on one's own self actualized and self determined future. And so all of that work comes together under a myriad of programs and services that are operated out of neighborhood centers and social enterprises.
And this always astounds me. How many locations and sites do you
Yeah, so four neighborhood centers
have? Okay.
that are, again, are offering a myriad of those programs and services that I mentioned, and then there's six social enterprises. So North Market, we operate the community-based newspaper in North Minneapolis, a bike shop in South Minneapolis, a host of entrepreneurial activities happening across the organization.
That's amazing. I couldn't
Yeah.
believe it when you gave me the layout of programs. I was like, you are literally all over the place doing all of the things. It's so impressive.
Yeah, thank you. It's work that comes together because we see the work of community-based organizations as holistic, whole families, whole communities, and so we try not to silo the work, although it's deeply important to work in partnerships with other organizations. But we really see it as a holistic approach and strategy to reaching the aspirations of community.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So I don't know if any of us have been immune to what has been going on the last two
yeah,
years.
for sure.
So how have things shifted for you following all of the events, the pandemic, everything? I mean, what has that looked like from a perspective of being in community in the way that we exist? And you run programs and just we
Yeah,
go through our day to day. What has
yeah.
that been like?
Certainly the disruptive forces of 2020 allowed us all to take a moment of reflection. Who do we want to be? What type of organizations do we want to work in and lead and steward in this moment? I'm fortunate that the organization was able to step up and meet the acute needs of the moment, and that's a lot around food insecurity, housing insecurity, as COVID, as you all know, disproportionately impacted certainly communities of color and the demographics in which we're serving as an organization. But here's what it also, I think, did for us was catalyze our strategy, give it momentum, crystallize our thoughts around what is it that we want to do? What's the outcome that we seek in a community with such pervasive and disturbing disparities? And how do we double down on the strategic things that are going to allow us to take leaps in community rather than incremental improvements? And so, if anything, what I'm really inspired by is our ability to think about the systems that really undergird such, again, disturbing disparities here in our region. And so we are on a march forward, rapidly thinking about how do we create this just system, just society.
That's amazing. Well, you're giving me energy. I'm just like, let's go.
Let's
Let's
go.
do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I love hearing that that while a lot of the events have been just so it's that there is hope and sort of this momentum to go forward. Um, just super inspiring. I
Yeah.
love that.
How do we not let a crisis go to waste, right? And certainly not minimizing the impact that both George Floyd's murder and COVID-19 has had on individuals and families, and especially those that are proximate to social justice work. It's really heavy, but at the same time, it's a moment for us to say, here's an opportunity. And what do we do with this moment? And where do we go from here is the question that I call in every room.
Yeah.
Where do we go from here?
Yeah. So obviously you're doing this in collaboration with community, and I just wonder. So how does community continue to rally around you in this work, including volunteers to support the work that you've been doing, or do you have stories of how that has emerged over the
Yeah.
last 2 years?
Yeah. Well, thank you for your leadership, certainly in this space, in being the platform, being the container for volunteers to be able to get connected to the work that we're doing as an organization. And it's a moment that all of us need to lean in. And so I believe in the power of cross-sector partnership. I believe that both our corporate and community-oriented individuals can contribute to this work by bringing their skills, their talent, their time, their treasure to this work. And so that is what I really challenge everyone to do in this moment, that there is something out there. Every organization, including Pillsbury, needs the power. We need that kind of cross sector, cross collaboration. And so that's what I'm hoping. And that's what has actually shown up over the last 2 years for us as an organization. More people raising their hands and saying, I want to be a part of this movement. And that's inspiring for people to say this is not a moment, this is movement work,
Yeah.
right? And movements require solidarity, concentration, really mobilization around an issue. And so that's where I think volunteers can center their energy.
Absolutely. So as a, you know, having locations throughout the community, as people are thinking about, we're always talking about contextualizing the volunteer experience. So in the past, people may have thought of volunteerism as possibly being kind of just transactional, like you show up, you deliver the jacket or that. Are there opportunities for people to sort of deepen their learning and experience that either you provide or just recommendations that you think to have that holistic volunteer experience for people to really engage and be in community?
Yeah, what I believe in this moment is when volunteers come in, what we're trying to really create as part of that experience is that volunteers come in with a deep sense of humility and not hubris,
Yeah.
but really seeing how they can work alongside communities, how they can understand. Oftentimes, it's individuals that come with an immense amount of privilege, and how are they aware of that, and showing up in a space that says community has the answers. They have the solutions, and how do we work alongside those to be able to usher in the type of transformative impact? And that this is not about charity. And if you see yourself as going to provide a charitable action, in particularly what has been communities of color, that's the wrong orientation. This is about you seeing your liberation, the liberation of communities in which we serve, deeply tied to your own, and wanting to create the pathways for that to be able to happen. And with that, there's a lot of work,
Yeah.
right? And so organizations like ours have a deep need for individuals to bring their best thinking. I always tell, I tell my board this, right? Don't stop the good thinking that you do for company A here in the metro, and don't bring that good thinking here to our organization, because that's that same critical thinking that I need to be able to push this organization forward. So that skills-based volunteerism is so important. There's more opportunities for young people to work alongside in mentorships, opportunities, internships. And so I think we're redefining the word of volunteerism. And so, and thank you, but a great opportunity for people to be able to bring their full selves to this work.
Absolutely. I think that's so important. So you mentioned different skills-based opportunities and things like that. Any other practical ways that you're looking for people to show up, or places that they can find, they've listened to you, they've heard you, they're fired up?
Yes. So, kind of at the low level, right, with lots of opportunities in food shelves and community meals, and people who just kind of want to provide that transaction and help in programs, a lot of opportunities for people to do that. Then kind of going up the next ladder is a lot of skills-based volunteerism. We have a tech center. We have folks that need financial literacy coaching, our families, lots of those kind of tools. And then I would say at the systems level, the organizational level, certainly I'm in the process of looking for board members, people that want to bring their time, their talents to the organization. And so we have a myriad of specialties that we're looking for in that area. And then we have projects, right? We have social enterprises. And so those that are thinking about business innovation and the power of social enterprise and helping to grow, whether it's marketing strategies, customer segmentation, all of those really tools that help drive companies
Yeah.
are the same types of core competencies that we're looking for in the organization.
It sounds like you have limitless opportunities.
Limitless. Yeah. Contact us.
Yes, absolutely. So what's your website?
Yep. PillsburyUnited.org.
Awesome. And we also host a lot of your opportunities at handsontwincities.org if
Absolutely.
people search our database.
Yeah.
Anything else as sort of we think about this culmination, the intersection, all of the change that's happened that you want to highlight at this time?
Well, thank you again for just the platform to be able to elevate the work. And hopefully this is inspiring individuals. You know, we are very fortunate to live in a very altruistic kind of community,
Yeah.
and people who want to be able to help. And so we need that energy to get us to the next phase. And as long as people, and I'll reemphasize this, as long as they see that they're coming into communities that have the solutions, that have the answers to some of the questions, but have been merely denied the opportunity. And so when people have that orientation, those are the folks that we welcome into our community to work alongside of us to build a more just and equitable place.
Well, we are so fortunate to be partners in helping you achieve this work. And just, I think your passion just embodies this excitement about what is really possible. You know, over the last few years, a lot of us have just felt like energy sucked in things. And I think this conversation with you has given me a lot of energy to go on. And I hope it inspires other volunteers to do so as well. We're just grateful for your leadership and all that you and your team do here in our community.
Thank you. It's all possible.
It is.
Thank you.
Thank you.